What if you could have healthier and more successful relationships, both platonic and romantic, by identifying these three crucial things that emotionally unhealthy individuals lack? In this video, I'm going to dive into these three things and help you understand what they all mean, right? Now, let me make this very clear. Before I proceed, these three things, they take place in a healthy childhood. The opposite of that is known as survival. Some people are raised in a healthy childhood. No childhood is perfect, by the way. Everybody comes out of childhood with some level of trauma. But healthy childhoods exist while unhealthy survival-based childhoods exist, right? These three things, if you do not get them in childhood, your next best bet is therapy in adulthood. So let's dive into them. These three things are healthy boundaries, they are individuation, and they are differentiation. In terms of healthy boundaries, I want you to kind of visualize a bubble around you or anybody, right? Some people lack healthy boundaries, and those bubbles that they're inside of, they have these massive holes that allows pretty much everything to pour out of them. People with healthier boundaries, they have much finer, smaller holes, right? But let me make this very clear as well. People that lack healthy boundaries don't just have these massive holes, they've also got no holes at all, and they're completely shut off from the world. So the massive holes are unhealthy. The lack of holes altogether are also unhealthy. And so those pinholes that not everybody can just fucking rip open and step inside of and take charge of whatever the hell they want to, right? Because the people that have healthy boundaries know themselves a lot better, right? That's the difference, right? We'll dive more into healthy boundaries in this video in a little bit. Let's talk about individuation. Individuation is basically, look at the word itself, individuation. The word individual is in there, right? The act of individuating is basically the act of becoming an individual that is separate from the family of origin, your family of origin, his, her family of origin, right? Whatever family of origin you came from, individuation is the act of becoming an individual that is separate from the family of origin. So, separate in your own thoughts, your own opinions, your own ideas, your own beliefs, your own feelings, your own behaviors. You choosing yourself in terms of a static, clear identity, right? Who you choose to be and why you choose to be that. Why are you choosing to be who you are? Is it because you've chosen that for yourself and you've taken the time to identify what it is that you like and who it is that you want to be? Or are you doing it from a place of enmeshment? Are you doing it because all of these fucking umbilical cords are attached to you, that are attached to the family of origin, and you have to go by what it is that they're saying, what it is that they're doing, what it is that they want for you, because you are not your own separate, autonomous, individuated individual? All right, that's individuation. Let's dive into differentiation. This one's also very fascinating, and I would say that this has a lot more to do with boundaries between self and other, right? Differentiation has a lot more to do with differentiating between self and other. I, thou. Where I begin, where I end, where other begins, where other ends. My shit, your shit. Why would I take on your shit? And why would you take on my shit? And not only that, but let's also look at differentiation. Let's go back to boundaries and let's look at the intersubjective space between self and other, right? What is it that occurs between the intersubjective space between self and other, right? Are you taking on the other person's shit? Why are you? Are you their therapist? Okay, that makes sense. Do you lack healthy boundaries and you feel like the only way that you can have a relationship with them is if you take on the overweighting, burdensome responsibility of their shit that is not your shit, so why are you doing that, right? So yeah, just to make it very clear again, healthy boundaries, right? Individuation and differentiation. These three things are crucial in a healthy childhood. Not everyone got a healthy childhood, but even in healthy childhoods, trauma still happens. It's far less, it's far more minimal, you know, it's far less severe, right? But it still happens. No parent is perfect. No child comes out of childhood without trauma. That's just the way that it is, right? But in terms of severe trauma, and my God, I've seen some crazy fucking shit out there. In terms of severe trauma, you are far less likely to have a healthy relationship with an individual that has been severely traumatized because they lack healthy boundaries in the sense of either having these massive fucking holes that they let anybody step right the fuck inside of and dictate their life, or they're just completely fucking shut off from the world and they have no connection to the external. Both of them are unhealthy. Having a fucking pinhole where you get to consciously decide what goes in and what comes out of that is the reality of this, right? So let's kind of dive into how people that lack healthy boundaries, individuation, and differentiation behave, because it's really crucial to understand this, right? So again, going back to the whole healthy boundaries thing, right? People that lack healthy boundaries, they either have these massive holes or they're completely shut off from the world, right? Which is fascinating because people that lack healthy boundaries lack emotional availability and emotional maturity. They're usually rooted somewhere in infancy. And so the fascinating thing when you look at this whole lacking healthy boundaries, right? Your holes are either completely massive and anybody and anything can enter them and anything can get out of them, or they're completely shut off. For those that understand emotional immaturity, that is an all or nothing dynamic, right? You got this massive hole that lets anything out, lets everything out, all, or you're completely shut off and you give and receive fucking nothing to and from the world, right? That is a facet of emotional immaturity. It's not good or bad or right or wrong, it's just not healthy, right? So, yeah, the way that these people behave is like that. It's very much all or nothing based. It's very much, if you're in a relationship, whether platonic or romantic, with somebody that lacks healthy boundaries, individuation, and differentiation, the very reality of it is that you might actually be taking on a fuck ton of responsibility that you actually don't need to, right? And you might not be getting anything in return, quite honestly, because people that lack healthy boundaries, people, I'll kind of like brief it this way: people that lack healthy emotional development, they're incapable of having healthy relationships in adulthood. And quite honestly, they tend to see people as less than human, less than their own autonomous organisms, individuals operating in their own way in their own life, and more so of this kind of like narcissistic extension of them to take care of their every need because they're emotionally underdeveloped, and with that, they lack the capacity to take care of their own stuff for themselves. Which, by the way, I made a video yesterday about I would say, the burdensome and unnecessary experiences and dynamics in unhealthy relationships where a person expects things from somebody else that they could give themselves. Validation, approval, worth, this, that, and the other. They seek that out there. Emotionally immature people do the same thing. Emotionally underdeveloped people seek what they could give themselves externally because they didn't get that in childhood. Understand how that works, right? So these people, right, that lack emotional health, that lack necessary emotional health, they are very much all or nothing, right? And it's not healthy because it's an extremely fast dynamic. This is why you see relationships that start fast, usually ending fast, is because it's all or nothing. You're going to get everything of me up front. And if that doesn't work out, and it doesn't ever work out because I have fucked up attachment wounds, not good or bad or right or wrong, it's just unhealthy. Um, and I'm not here to shame or guilt anyone or make fun of anyone. That's not what this is about. I'm just saying and showing everything for what it is. right? You're going to have very short-lived relationships. And this could even be in the form of platonic, because some people are just so fucking terrified of intimacy that they don't know how to do it, right? They're like, just take it all. I don't know what to do with this. I don't know how to approach you and this whole thing. So just take it all. Oh, I wasn't accepted. Fuck. Goodbye. Ah. Right? And that's it. And then it's game over. And it's just the whole dynamic of it, right? Um, if you are in a relationship with somebody that is emotionally underdeveloped, you are going to be in a very turbulent experience. Now, don't get me wrong, there are, you know, it's back and forth in terms of the spectrum, right? There is a balanced ground for some people, but they are healthy. I'm talking about the total um, opposite end of the spectrum where people are unhealthy, right? I'm really just trying to help people identify what this is, what all of these dynamics are, so you can understand. This is really about being able to see people for who they are, see the dynamics for what they are, be able to identify those dynamics, be like, wow, okay, that person lacks healthy boundaries. That's an all or nothing dynamic right there. They have these massive holes in their bubbles that are their boundaries, and they just let everything out. They don't hold anything in. That's not healthy, right? Oh, that person is not individuated. They're very much sucked into the enmeshed dynamic of their family system. They have not taken the time to create their own sense of individuality that is separate from their family system. Wow, that person is undifferentiated. Holy crap. They see that other person not as a person, but as an object of gratification. It's no fucking different from their arm. Damn, that's fucking crazy. Being able to see it for what it is and understand, you will not be able to have a healthy relationship with an individual that is emotionally unhealthy. That needs to be understood. It doesn't matter what you do. I mean, don't get me wrong. You could sacrifice the ever living fuck out of yourself to try to sustain a relationship with an individual that is emotionally unhealthy. Like in the very beginning, you might be like, oh, but I love this person and I'm willing to fucking do it. So I'll do whatever it takes and I'll just let go of everything. I'll sacrifice everything I've ever wanted to be with this person because I fucking yeah, that's gonna get real exhausting real fucking quick. And I mean, don't get me wrong, shit, if you really want to do that, you can fucking do that. I do not recommend it at all. It will fuck you up hardcore over the long term, and you will waste a lot of time when you could have just done the work on yourself and attract somebody that is a healthy individual. Now, let me make this very clear before I end off this video. I'll say a few more things before I end this off, but I want to make this very clear. There are individuals out there that will love you for who you are, right? Imagine who you are as a boundary, right? Say, for instance, obviously, this is who I am, right? There's a boundary around who I am, right? People will love me for who I am, period. I understand that a lot of people don't believe that. They're like, no, they just want your money. Yeah, there are people out there that just want your money. They're not healthy. There are people out there that are emotionally underdeveloped that want things from you that are just not healthy, right? And those are the individuals that are not healthy. There are also individuals out there that are healthy and will want a relationship with you, whether platonic or romantic, that actually consists of healthy dynamics, where they actually love you for you and not what it is that you have. That exists. I understand that a lot of people out there don't believe that it does, but it does, right? So, understanding that people that are emotionally unhealthy struggle far more with relationships for reasons that we've explored in this video. But really being able to understand what this all means and identify it for what it is, seeing it for what it is the transformative experience here, right? Like if you can like be in, I don't know, a situation or an interaction with somebody and be like, just listening to everything they're saying, be like, holy fucking shit, this person lacks healthy boundaries. They just told me everything about them in less than 5 minutes. That's fucking crazy. So that means that the likelihood that we're going to have a healthy, consistent relationship over the long term is slim to fucking zero. Let's not do that, right? And by the way, you don't owe people shit. Unless it's the IRS and you owe money, you don't owe anybody anything. So there's fucking nothing but your noisy mind telling you to stay. There's nothing that's stopping you from upping and getting the fuck out. And that's the reality of it, right? You don't have to waste your time on individuals that are unhealthy because it's not just the lack of mutuality back and forth, lack of healthy boundaries also means that whatever it is that they feel about themselves, they're most definitely going to fucking give to you. So if they feel like they're a piece of shit, they're going to call you a piece of shit. That's just the reality of it. Do you really want to stick around to find that nasty shit out? I don't believe that you would want to, right? Again, people that lack healthy boundaries. I'll end off with this because I think that this is really important. People that lack healthy emotional development, right? They don't really see a healthy defined differentiation between self and other, right? So their shit is your shit, right? So they're not going to have any problem being verbally abusive to you. They're going to throw everything that they feel about themselves at you because it's too painful for them to carry. And why not just utilize you as an emotional punching bag, right? It's easier for them to just offload all their shit onto you, right? Everyone is a fucking container to them. Everyone is there for them to just projectile fucking vomit all of their pain at because they don't have the healthy boundaries in place to be able to be like, oh, wait a second, this is not your shit. This idea of being a piece of shit is, I mean, maybe it's not even my shit either, but why should I give it to you? That's abusive because I've lacked healthy boundaries my whole life. People with pinholes in their boundaries, right? Some stuff can get in, some stuff can come out, but it's more of a consciously aware dynamic, and they wouldn't be like, fucked up like people that are emotionally underdeveloped. That's the reality of it, right? So I hope this helps you understanding um, the way that it is that emotionally underdeveloped people are, right? What they lack. They lack these three things that are absolutely crucial, right? Healthy individuals and exceedingly healthy individuals have these fucking three things on lock. Healthy boundaries, individuation, and differentiation. They have a clear static sense of self. It is unchanging regardless of what anybody else does or says to them. And they get unhealthy people out of their life like that. Period. Or, actually, let me end this off. It's more so a dynamic where they identify it for what it is and they're like, yeah, that person's not even going to be a part of my life. Period.